Welcome to a Goshen Health OneChart ambulatory implementation video. Today's topic, front office scheduling a patient, the walk-in schedule. This is part 4 of a 7-part series. The mission of the OneChart project team is to implement a unified EMR that will continue to elevate the exceptional care provided to our patients and surrounding communities by streamlining communications and workflows throughout our organization and enhance patient engagement. A reminder, screens are always changing due to the ongoing build. This video is to help you start to understand the functionality of the Meditech Expanse system. Our topic today is the walk-in schedule. There are 7 types of patient scheduling. We've already covered the full book, the quick book, the group bookings. Today we will cover the walk-in. There is also scheduling of meetings, the reserve book, and the non-clinical or B&B booking. Please go to your desktop icon, the Expanse WPL test icon, and select it. Please enter your Goshen email and password, then click Sign In. You have now reached the main menu. Please click on Ambulatory and Office Staff. If you have difficulties logging in, please let us know by contacting us via email at OneChart. You are now on your home screen. As mentioned in previous videos, you can often schedule a patient in 2 locations. For instance, the full book could be done in the scheduling grid and in the patient summary. The quick book, however, could only be performed in the scheduling grid. Group bookings could be scheduled in the scheduling grid. Changes could be made in the scheduling grid, or we could go to the patient summary and remove the patient or make a change just for that individual patient. Today we are going to address the walk-in. We are able to perform the walk-in in both the scheduling grid and the patient summary. Let's begin by going to your black navigation bar and clicking on the scheduling grid icon. A walk-in is often performed in the urgent care. However, other offices may utilize this functionality as well. For today's purposes, let's go to the urgent care. If you remember from previous videos, you will go up to the top where we have our resource group, in this case, Bristol Family Medicine. Click on that button. We can either begin to type our research group or we can scroll down. We're looking for Goshen Urgent Care. Here it is. I'm going to click on it to select it. And now I see it up in the resource group section at the top. If I'm going to schedule in the urgent care, I will come and I will find the time slot and I will click in that cell. Notice I had the full book and the quick book, the group, and the walk-in. The walk-in is a combination of having a full book, but instead of being brought to this screen to check the patient in, it lets me remain in that same screen so that I can continue to check the patient in. Let's take a look. Please click on Walk-in. You will search for the patient via the birth date. I will search using the patient's name. You will see this overlay screen labeled Patient Reference. Remember, it was entered through the yellow accordion that was labeled Comments in our full book. Let's click Close because I've already read this information. And now we are in a screen that looked just like the full book. Off to the right, I have all my accordions. If I want to enter something else in that comment box so that it stays with the patient regardless of what appointment they are going to, I can come over here to the yellow accordion and I can click Edit and enter more information. I can check with the patient their demographics, their insurance, their pharmacy, and any other bit of information that we feel is pertinent to or has changed. As with the full book, if I come back to the center pane, I have the patient's picture if it's on file. I have the patient's name. In this instance, the patient has not been enrolled in the patient portal because I see a little gray person with a blue plus just begging me to click on it and try to get them enrolled. I see the patient's age, sex, and date of birth. Off to the right, I can see if the patient has a PCP and if there's any outstanding balance. As I move down the screen, this will look very familiar to you as the full book screen. You have an appointment section, an authorization and referral, and the insurance eligibility information, and at the very bottom, an order section. Just as with our full book, we will come down and we'll say the facility, appointment type. I can click on the drop down. In this case, since this is urgent care, I'm going to select same day. It brings in my location, my duration based upon what that office has requested, the reg type, and once again, visit reason. I can use a look ahead by typing in a little bit of information here, and I can select from the list, or I could have continued typing out with free text. Remember, we do prefer that you choose from the list because it does give us certain possibilities on the back office side. Today, I'm going to choose from the list. It does bring in my date and time. It looks like we will have a conflict because I see this in red. We will address that as we're checking out. It has brought in a visit provider. In the urgent care, we use a mock doc, one that we call ZZ doc. This is so that we can schedule all the patients, and then as providers are freed up, they are able to add that provider to the patient's appointment. It automatically will bring through the referring and the primary care if present. In this instance, we could do a pre-book, which would just put me out there back on the scheduling grid, and the same thing with the book schedule. If I want to book with check-in because the patient literally walked through my door, asked if we had any openings, and I'm scheduling and checking them in now, I would click on the book with check-in. There is a conflict because this patient already has a visit over in another office. Normally, I would go back and change this so that the patient doesn't have conflicting appointments, but for today, I'm just going to click the override. It brings up my patient reference screen one more time. I'm going to click close because I did read that earlier. And now I'm in the check-in process. I can click check-in, and now the patient's appointment is on the screen. If I am in an office where they have a lot of 5-minute appointments, I may want to come up here to the corner and click on this grid with a wrench. And here I can decrease the time increments. So I will take this down to 5-minute increments, and I will click OK. I can see my appointments in a little easier fashion. If I want to see more information on this, I can always click on these 2 arrows, and it will show me all the details. To close it, I click on the same arrows, and it brings it back up into its space. That is how you schedule a walk-in on the scheduling grid. Let's go to the patient summary screen. Go up to your black navigation bar and click on the patient summary icon. Going to choose a different patient this time. You will select by using the birth date. As a reminder, the patient summary screen will either give me a snapshot of the patient's information from a medical record or an overall record of the patient, or I can click on previous or future appointments and see the details that were attached to that appointment. For instance, if I had a workman's comp on this, maybe the insurance would be changed for this appointment. If I look up at the top, I do have a refresh button. Remember, we did the full book in here. In this case, here is my walk-in. So let's click walk-in. You can see that this is the same walk-in schedule that we just had for the scheduling grid. We have in the center pane our appointments section. To the right, we have the yellow accordions that allow us to review with the patient all their information. There's a little bit of a difference with this patient summary screen. So it does bring in the patient facility. Once again, appointment. I could come in here and enter same day as I did before. This time I will have to bring in the location because through the patient summary, we're not choosing a location ahead of time. So I'm going to type in Goshen Urgent Care. It automatically brought in my duration. And once again, I can type in my visit type. And I'm going to choose from my list. Because I'm not choosing from the scheduling grid, I also don't have a date and time. If I know that I'm choosing today and right now, I can do a shortcut of typing T and then space and then N. When I hit the enter key, it brings in today and now. Just a hint, if you ever want 5 days from now, you would do T plus 5. I can see I'm going to have a conflict with this because there is red. We also could have gone and used the search functionality. If there is an information I want to reside only on this visit, I would enter the comment section here. My visit provider, remember in the urgent care we're using our ZZ provider, so if I start to type the first couple letters and give it a moment, it'll bring up my provider. You may continue on by using the book with check-in and it will bring you to the check-in screen, and then you can complete the process by clicking the check-in button. This completes our video on the walk-in. If you're having issues, please let us know. We're always happy to help. Thank you for your time.